Hi, this is Tom Capizzi from Capizzi Home Improvement, and I'm here with Chris, our project manager at the White Residence in Dennisport, where we are converting a one-story ranch that is similar to the neighbors over here, as you can see. And Chris, I believe you said in like 3 days' time you converted this from a one-story to a two-story and got it weather tight.
Yeah, we were able to pre-cut all the rafters and get everything all set, so we were able to get the roof plywood on and all tarped in in 3 days, so we were never exposed to the weather. So
yeah, that's outstanding. And you had weather coming in, I think, at the end of that 3 days, right?
Yes,
within hours.
That night.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, why don't you just take us real quick around to show us what you guys have done. The first floor is pretty much as is, right?
Right. The first floor stayed as it is. We had a 45-degree 12-12 pitch in the front. And you can see we've raised the second story with a shed dormer off the back.
Yeah.
And we're matching all the pre-stained shingles. Right over here we have a 3-foot cantilever deck that's going to have open to the inside with a slider on the inside. Gives a nice view of the river.
Yeah. Great. All right. Why don't we take a walk around here to get a little view of the dormer. So we've been here about, what, 3.5 weeks approximately?
Just about 4.5 weeks.
4.5 weeks
right
now?
Yep.
Yeah. You got the interior all framed up on the second floor?
Interior's framed for the second floor. The rough plumbing is complete, and the rough wiring is going to start tomorrow. And there's a new heating system put in the attic, so we're almost ready for our inspections.
Yeah. Great. Good. All right, well, let's take a look at the inside, see what you've done there.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Okay, and we're now on the first floor of the white job, the second story addition. And Chris, why don't you show us what you did here with this opening?
Well, this was a solid wall, and this is the main bearing wall for the upstairs with the joist laid on. So we added 2 microlamps to span this 10-foot cased opening. That's going to be just an opening into the dining room here.
So what was this opening before, roughly? How?
This was a solid wall that was filled in with studs that went up, floor to ceiling.
All right, so a 10-foot opening needed what for a laminated beam?
Needs 2 9.5-inch LVLs.
Yeah, carries the whole second floor. All right, and so this is the dining room in front of us here?
Yes.
And the living room.
Doubled up, so a gable end wall now requires all the studs to be full height all the way up to the rafters instead of having a hinge point at the wall. So we run the studs all the way up top, and we have to block between them for fire blocking where a horizontal meets a vertical surface. Part of the new codes require to replace however many studs come out of a window opening on the sides. So we're taking these 2 studs out of an opening, we're adding 1 to each side as king studs for more strength that way.
So every time you take 1 or 2 studs out of a window, you've got to add that many extra to the sides.
To the sides, correct.
Yeah.
And for shear, the first 2 bays on the rafters need to be blocked solid on the joints of the plywood, so the plywood can be nailed into those blocks. And these blocks are notched out so we can still keep the airflow coming through, but yet still nail the joints of the plywood to give the ends of the walls shear strength against high wind forces.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of increases in framing for the new code.
Yes.
And the plywood, you already mentioned that, has to be full height.
Full height plywood, 10-foot sheets of the zip system green plywood that's finished. These are a couple of scraps. It's got a finish on it, so it doesn't have to be Tyvek. And then you zip tape the seams so it's finished. It's already sealed on the outside when you finish plywooding. And it's also got markings on it, so it can be nailed 8 inches on centers where the studs are, and 3 inches on the edges to meet the new codes.
So in one respect, it makes it easier for us because it's already finished on the outside, doesn't have to be papered in.
Yes.
And we're able to do interior work.
It cuts down on having to Tyvek, which is labor. And then as soon as you plywood it and tape the seams, you're sealed from the weather on the outside, and you can get the subs in and get to work, whether it be electricians or the plumbers or the heating guys. They can be working in a watertight building right away.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And it's got to be full height to go from the bottom plate up to the top plate to stop any uplift. So no more horizontal seams in the plywood. It's all vertical.
Okay, so no breaks vertically at all now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, let's see, we got a couple skylights here. Anything additional we've had to do around skylights with the new code?
Nope, those are just doubled up on the sides, and they've got joist hangers on those. What we're going to have to do is drill a hole in the top so ventilation can get into these bays, which are usually blocked. That's a code requirement.
Yeah, so everything's vented top to bottom.
Yes.
Great. And then we have a little balcony here we're building.
Yep, this is just a temporary handrail for the balcony that's coming. It's going to be oak railing with balusters. It's going to be hardwood.
Great. All right, did we pretty much cover all the additional framing that's been required with the new building code upgrade?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is uplift. You know, if you're putting new footings in and stuff, you'll have to put those in. But this was on top of existing buildings, so we have hurricane ties on all the rafters. But if we were starting from the ground, it would be, there's different requirements for each different situation you're in.
All these ties you're talking about, the bottom of all the rafters?
Yes.
And that's fairly new as far as the
No,
code increase?
the hurricane ties have always been in there.
All right, well, we're still at the white job here. It's a full second-story addition, just now framed. And you started this job, we figured, about 3.5 weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. And got a long way to go, but it's coming along real well. And we'll take a look outside now.